weekend, we've all seen the distressing images which continue to come out of Ukraine.
Well, there's been an outpouring of support across the world. Tearful protesters gathered in London over the weekend to express their anger at the Russian invasion.
Also demonstrations in Berlin, Milan, Madrid, Tokyo, even within Russia itself, where it's reported that around 2,000 people were arrested. You might have noticed that we've added some Ukrainian flags to our river view this morning to show our support and solidarity with the people of Ukraine. If you are watching, you have friends or family there at the moment, we're just sending lots of love and our support.
As the crisis continues, tens of thousands of Ukrainians have now fled into neighbouring countries, but the majority have remained behind, with huge numbers taking up arms to defend their country.
Oleksandra Zubal has been sheltering with her family since the Russian invasion began on Thursday and says chaos at the borders has now made escape almost impossible. She joins us live now from her hometown of Lviv in Ukraine to share her story. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for talking to us today, Oleksandra. I suppose the first question has got to be, did you ever think it would come to this?
First of all, thank you for having me. We have never thought that would happen in Ukraine at that scale, at least. We've been at war since 2014, but I have never expected to explain it to my child what a war is and why she has to hide in a shelter. And even though there were rumors about the escalation, I honestly haven't expected myself to wake up and start tactically packing things to go elsewhere from actually my home.
So let's just explain the circumstances that you find yourself in, because it was the early hours of Thursday morning that you found out that war was breaking out and you left the centre of the city to travel to your summer house. And so this is, how far away are you from city centre?
I'm actually 10 minutes walk by from the actual opera theatre, which is a city centre. And my summer house is around 10 kilometers from my actual apartment.
And so how do you explain that to your daughter? Because you're there with your 5-year-old daughter, Amelia, and your 10-year-old goddaughter, Daria. So 2 different ages, still whatever ages children understand more than we think, I think. So what have you said to them?
Since the first shock, I told her just to pack and do whatever I say, and she obeyed. And then I explained her that there is a threat from a neighboring country. She knows that there is an escalation since 2014, which never expected that she would have to hide elsewhere. And yeah, we're explaining that our army is fighting, that she's safe, and but she has to obey all the commands from the adults whenever she is requested to. And last night she told me that, "Mom, I'm no longer a kid, I'm a grown-up," and I do believe so.
That is the horrifying thing of war. It makes kids grow up so very, very quickly. I mean, I think she had COVID just a couple of weeks ago, and you thought that was bad, and then you find yourself here and look back and think, oh, those sort of almost seem like gentler times. You posted a picture. It's been viewed 850,000 times. What made you post this picture?
That was the first night that we spent in our summer house after fleeing the city when the war has begun. I have actually made this picture to send it over to her father, my husband, to tell him that we are staying on the first floor, not the second floor. And then I decided to post it, to raise awareness. So this is how it is. This is our new reality. I was still shocked by about the situation, about the overall situation. I couldn't believe that. And I really tried to put her to bed and not to make her nervous, because I was really, really stressed at that time. And I was trying not to show her that I'm crying or something like that. And to keep her calm, cozy, and like at home.
But it's not like at home because your partner, your husband isn't there, her father isn't there because he is fighting.
He's currently being recruited to the military forces. There are long queues here in Lviv, and yeah, tens of thousands of people are being recruited right now, and they are going to be relocated elsewhere. He's a former police officer, so he is more or less skilled to do that, and he's been recruited in 2014 during the first outbreak on the east of Ukraine. Yeah, so he's waiting for a message to understand where he's going to be dislocated.
And you've been talking to him. Has he been able to tell you what it's like for him, what is happening?
Yeah, when he first told me I'm going there, I'm going to be recruited, I was really shocked, but I actually didn't went hysterical, because I understand that he and everyone else are going to protect our land and protect us and protect our homes. After all, yeah, who else is going to protect us?
You do have the option as a woman and with your child to get out, to leave the country. But you say that actually that's no longer really an option because there is so much chaos at the border.
That's correct. A friend of mine is currently at the line at the border with Poland. She's been there for over than 50 hours, 56 hours, I think. And so it's really complicated to leave the country by car. The trains are limited. Of course, you cannot buy plane tickets. If you want to cross the border on foot, there are pedestrian crossings, but there are like tens of thousands of people trying to cross the border. It's the temperature below zero. Today has been snowing, and there are no sanitary facilities anywhere near the border. Even though the local people are supporting those in the lines, they are providing some warm food. There is scarce food for children of younger ages, like babies and toddlers. So it's really harsh over there. So we decided to stay here at home to do whatever we can to support Ukrainians, our army. And I do think that it's safe for my kid to stay where she is.
You say you've stayed behind. You work for an IT company. That's your job to help the war effort, and that's what you're doing as a company, as an individual. What are you actually doing now?
On Thursday, when the war has just started, I spent a couple of hours coordinating with the team to move them from different regions of Ukraine to the western border of Ukraine. I'm managing a team of 30, and there are people from all over Ukraine. And since the attacks, we tried to organize the buses for them to relocate to Lviv in other regions. So yeah, I did that during the first day. Then buses started arriving, and we tried to find apartments and host those people who had to leave their homes. Some of the people spent the night here in the office, so some sleeping bags were required, and also some of the things for the pets. I'm a cat owner, so yeah, I shared some food and kitty litter and things like that. And also they required cooking equipment, things like that. So we try to support them as much as possible.
When you're talking of support like that, I mean, we're all sitting here thinking, right, what can we do to help? And I know for you, there's a charity that you're working alongside with. Could you just tell us about that?
Yeah, there are a couple of funds in Ukraine that accept donations, one from the National Bank of Ukraine and another one that's called Save Life in UA. We are ourselves donating to those funds, and we already gathered billions of Ukrainian hryvnias and $500,000 in US dollars for the army needs. They accept donations from all over the world. So if you want to donate, go to the savelive.in.ua. You would be able to donate in whatever form you want.
Okay.
Thanks,
Be
Oleksandra.
it any currency.
Thank you.
We'll put the
that
details
on our app,
yeah.
on our website, so if you didn't catch it, then we'll make sure that you can access that and help if you want to. Thank you so much. Please stay safe.
Yeah, send your whole family
you.
lots of love. Well, as the crisis continues to dominate the news, I, like many parents, have been struggling to speak to my children about it. So we're joined in the studio now by Nicky Cox, who is the editor of the children's newspaper First News. Morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for being in here. I mean, it is so hard because you want to be open and transparent and honest, but you want to deliver it in a way that's appropriate for the age of child you're talking to. Where do you even begin?
Well, I mean, first of all, I feel so sad for children who just thought we were coming through the pandemic and life was beginning to turn to some kind of normality again. And then this happens and there's something else to worry about. I think the most important thing is to be as open as you possibly can. Don't feel you need to turn off the TV or turn off the radio, because the reality is they are hearing about it anyway. And actually much better that you control the narrative and control the conversation yourself with them and you're aware of what they're seeing. The problem is that they're online, they're going to come across things on YouTube. After half term, a lot of children are going back to school today. It's going to be being talked about in the playground. Yeah. And you don't know what they're being told, what they're hearing. And the other thing I would always say is don't assume because they don't say anything to you that they're not worrying about it. They may feel a bit embarrassed, a bit awkward, they're not really sure what's going on. Some children are much more open and they will talk to you, but others may be kind of internalising their fears. So I would give them an opportunity to say something to you. Say, have you heard about Ukraine? You know, what are you thinking about it? And give them a chance to talk to you.
So you should be open, should be honest. I assume you limit the information up to a point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing to do is not to keep the TV on 24/7 because you don't know what's being said. You know, in wartime, I mean, there's more misinformation and fake news than any other time. Obviously, there's a lot of propaganda around, and you don't know what they're going to see. So I would say control what they see as much as you can. There are very good sources of children's news now, as well as obviously First News, which comes out every Friday. We're doing a special edition this week all about Ukraine, and we'll be updating it every week. There's also, of course, Newsround, and there's the Sky Kids weekly news show, FYI, which you can see on the First News website as well.
It's very difficult for the older children that are getting a lot of information from TikTok or places like that, where there is just so much of this rolling images and explosions. And I mean, that's going to go in your head and that's going to sit with you. And not all of that is necessarily coming from a reliable or responsible source.
Exactly, that's the problem, and they're absorbing all of that. I was just talking to Giles Brandreth, funnily enough, who said that he's got his grandchildren staying, and they're kind of sitting there watching it all unfold, not asking questions particularly, but just watching it. And as you say, once they're online, you don't know what they're seeing. Yeah. And it's important that, you know, in our paper and on Newsround and FYI, you're not going to see images of people with blood coming down their faces. You know, we're telling the truth, we're honest about what's happening and factual, but we don't sensationalise it. We're not going to show graphic images.
How do you reassure them if they are scared? Because the word nuclear has just been mentioned. Yeah. And that's, even to everybody, that's a terrifying prospect.
Yeah, I think what you say is that, yes, there's a bad thing happening, but actually the rest of the world is in support. Everybody, in times like this, all the good things come out as well, and to focus on some of the good news and the donations and the people that are supporting. And in fact, even though bad things happen, there's a lot more good going on in the world, and a lot more good people, and in the end, the good will prevail.
OK, thank you. Thank you very much.